Welcome to a records management moment with the New York Association of Local Government Records Officers, also known as NIALGRO. In this edition, we are going to be talking about 6 records management terms that you need to know. Let's start by defining records management. Records management is the systematic management of records that are created through the process of doing the work. Any organization creates records, whether it's a bank or a doctor's office or a local government. And those records might be on paper or electronic. They may be handwritten or born digital. What exactly is a records management officer? Well, in New York State, every organization that's a local government is required to adopt or appoint a person as the records management officer, or RMO for short. In a town or village, that's automatically the clerk. But in other organizations, it could be anybody within the organization, and they have to be appointed through a process like a resolution. This person has a significant number of important duties that are defined within the Arts and Cultural Affairs law. Some of these details are the systematic management of organizations' records and coordinating a program around that management. Different things that you might end up doing in this case is determining whether or not things are eligible for destruction or where and how to store them. Oftentimes, in my role as RMO, I get to decide or help people decide how things should be stored physically or electronically, and whether or not we're meeting the specific rules or guidelines provided by the state of New York about how those things should be stored. Records can be active records or inactive records. So let's define active records first. Active records are those that have ongoing administrative, fiscal, legal, or reference value, and they need to be reviewed periodically by the office staff that made them. So these are things that you can't send to a storage facility yet because, more than one time a quarter, they need to be viewed. What about inactive records? Well, these are records that, you don't need to look at all the time. They tend to take up a lot of space, so we want to move them someplace where they're stored into a records box, out of the filing cabinet, into a place where we can access them easily enough, but they're not right in our office taking up that space that's valuable. We have to hold on to them because they still have that administrative, legal, fiscal, or archival value, but they're just not needed as often. What is disposition? And notice I didn't use the term destruction. Disposition and destruction, not the same thing. As a matter of fact, destruction is one type of disposition. Basically, what disposition means in the context of records management is shifting the category from inactive to no longer needed to prove administrative business value. So, that's when we make a determination about what to do with the record. And it might be destruction, like the lady here. She's cheerfully shredding some boxes of records. Or it could be sale, selling it to another institution, giving it to a repository for archives or historical purposes, transferring to a local government archives, or another authorized means of removal. Definitely, what this means for us as records managers is that we have to look at different kinds of records and determine whether they have ongoing value, not just to us, but to others. Whatever decision you do make about how to dispose of a certain type of record, keep in mind this one very important thing. Many records do contain PII, or personally identifiable information, or PHI, personal health information. And any records that contain those types of matters really should not be donated. You may have to retain them for other types of reasons or find an appropriate location for them to live if they have that archival value, but that means they're not ready for disposition. And you should not hand over things that have that information on it to anyone. Really, the duty of a records management officer and a records management team is to make a determination about the value of a series of records. That's what we call appraisal. And basically, it boils down to determining, is this record still actively needed, inactive but still containing administrative, legal, fiscal, or archival value, or ready for disposition, whether that's via shredding or donation. Basically, everything that we're doing is a matter of determining the risk and reward of keeping a record over the long term or letting it go. And that is what we're trying to do as records management officers. Fortunately for us, there are a lot of tools provided by the New York State Archives team to help us make these determinations, but still, it is a matter of decision making at the office level and through the office of a records management officer to determine whether or not something should or should not stay or go. Thank you for joining us at NIALGRO for another records management moment. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Lastly, don't forget to join us at the 2025 NIALGRO Conference at the Villa Roma Resort in Callicoon, New York. That's June 1st through 3rd. More information is available on nialgro.org.